Alright. Hello everyone, we are Team Deep Clearance, and just as a reminder for our problem background, we are working on providing situational awareness for service members overseas for man-made and natural environments. And I am Michael Zern, I'm an engineering major.
I'm Giovanna Verdi, I'm a biology major.
I'm Cassandra Hagstad, I'm a CIS major.
I'm Josh, and I'm a nursing major.
And I'm Marshall, I'm intelligence analysis.
So our interviews this week took a different turn. We looked at a civilian workforce perspective with our problems. So we talked to firefighters, police department, and the SWAT team local to Harrisonburg, and we were able to relate our problem to their situations that they deal with every day. So there are similarities and differences when looking at the status of individuals that they need information about. So firefighters want to know whether the individuals are alive or not within a burning building, for an example, because that could change their tactics on the job. And that was slightly, but also similar to our typical customer, the 75th Rangers. But then we asked the police department about their perspective with this issue, and they said they want to know within the building, within the layout that we would provide for them, they want to know about elevators, locked doors, stairwells, access points, basically any internal obstacles that they can be encountered with that could help in that problem. And then, so I talked to a previous JMU alum who created this program called Geotactics, which is basically a GIS program that gives you a visual layout of a building. It's for all the buildings in the Harrisonburg town, and the fire department primarily uses it. He said other workforce organizations also use it, and it basically is a quick and easy way to develop a visual floor plan or blueprint of a building for workforces to use.
And our customer discovery for week 3, we have 3 hypotheses. The first one being a software to map out not only 2 dimensions, but the 3rd dimension. And through the interviews and research we conducted, it was validated by the fire chiefs that we spoke to, and we can work on getting that G access into that program. The second hypothesis was the deep clearance going to civilians and SWAT forces and stuff like that. That was validated through our interviews, through the differing customer perspectives for the need of our solution. And also the last hypothesis was to figure out whether the element of surprise was important to our customers, and that was validated through the police. In Harrisonburg, they want to set out to keep the people in the force as safe as possible and not go into situations blind.
So basically an hour in the life is just showing that the guys that we're trying to make a solution for are basically going through a bunch of different terrains, and they're coming up on buildings, caves, different things like that. So that's kind of that. And then, so we redid our mission model canvas. Last week we had the contacts 1, 2, 3, and it was color-coded that way. So we took the feedback and did a different approach, and we, since we branched out this week, we separated it into categories of people that we were interviewing. So we have our sponsors and the Rangers, the fire department, and then our science and technology specialists, and then also the police department. So I think that helped a lot, definitely this week, to break it up into category rather than just individual contact.
So this week, since our interview focus kind of shifted to first responders instead of active duty military, the gains and pains kind of shifted slightly, but still along the same lines. It was focused more on understanding the current status of the civilians and also the man-made structures that they'd be involved with, because that is what the first responders deal with on an everyday basis.
And our customer archetype is are men 18 to 24 years old, weighing around 175 pounds. And they also need to be able to carry their body weight and gear and all the technology provided to them. And these men walk miles a day in rugged terrain, and as well as they're highly active and trained in like subterranean areas and stuff like that.
So looking at our customer workflow, we have kind of the typical tactical level workflow of the Army Rangers. From the enemy contact or an anomaly encountered, the squad leader then gathers information based on what he sees, what his men see, any recon and stuff already out there based on pre-mission briefs and everything. And from there, they would report the situation up the chain of command, or if necessary, bypass that part to basically make the decision themselves because they don't have time. But if they do pass it up the chain of command, then they can use other intelligence sources such as any assets, air assets that are on station, other support units in the area that could possibly either help them with their problem or help in providing information for them. And then so our MVP still is roughly the same. We still want basically a drone that is hardwired back to a spool pretty much, which the Rangers can let out so that it's hardwired so that they do not lose connection inside these structures, which is one aspect that they said was one of their biggest issues. Also, everything breaks down into its own components so that it does not weigh very much and it can be spread out amongst the squad of men. In addition to this, we're looking at using some sort of sensor, whether it be LiDAR or radar, and we're looking into sonar to try and map out the environment, whether it be cave or buildings that they're in. A thermal camera so that they can see in the dark and also in kind of debris-filled environments, as well as any other additional sensors that we're looking into to see if it works. And then all this would be run with a gaming controller and on a ruggedized tablet or something running the ATAC system.
So ATAC stands for Android Tactical Assault Kit. So this is a very versatile geospatial app that anyone can download. It's open network, so you can stream any area of the globe at any time from the knowledge that we've gained so far. I've actually made a contact with somebody at Northrop Grumman who works directly with ATAC, so I'll be looking into that more in this coming week. So then our future plans for this upcoming week are just to address more of the specific technologies and the platforms that can be addressed for our problem. Thank you.
1, 2, 3. All right, so let's get some feedback. I don't think we have any synchronous mentors or sponsors to jump in. So the group here can get feedback, and remember to try and keep it to about 30 seconds.
So for the MVP, you said that it can break up and spread apart to different people, different responders?
Yeah, so the idea is that the cable itself goes back to the spool, so you attach that. So the drone is one individual component. So one soldier would carry the drone and the batteries and, well, just the battery. And then the spool would be carried by another soldier, the battery packs, and also the flight controllers are kind of, well, the flight controllers mounted on the spool, the batteries are separate, so they're mounted, they're carried by someone else. And then the gaming controller and the ruggedized tablet are carried by someone else. So essentially, they're all individual pieces that can be put together, reducing the weight. And
yeah, we're trying to reduce the amount of weight that they're carrying at once because they're already carrying their body weight and.
Yeah, like 5 or 6 components weighing in around like 10 to 15 pounds apiece.
The only comment on that is
For just like a pain, like what if someone got separated from the group or someone was not separated from the group and it was like an emergency situation and you didn't have all the components, then what?
That's
that's
typically
I had someone I interviewed came up with or kind of suggested the same thing. So we're kind of looking into other things, but just as our minimum viable product, that's just kind of what we have like as a basis for trying.
But they're there for days. They're not just there for like 2 minutes. Like I think it's more of like
the
they're
squad
out on a
itself.
mission for a purpose. Like they're gonna stick together. I feel like no matter what. But
Yeah.
I don't know though.
The-
This is actually the mission model canvas though too, because this is actually kind of the smallest part of what you're supposed to do this week. So let's go back to that kind of stuff. Any thoughts on this, guys?
Yes. For the mission achievement and impact factors, the bottom 2 don't have any quantifiable numbers tied to them.
It wasn't. Which one? The two inches?
Yeah.
2 inches. At the bottom.
The second and third ones.
What, like, the determination of weapon systems and booby traps in enemy position and determination of hostile persons in the area.
Determination of numbers.
So,
Almost like a yes or no,
Well,
maybe.
what we were thinking of, like, our system would
Are they
determine
present, how many are there,
and then,
and then their location.
so,
What would be successful to you guys then? If they actually identify?
anything.
Yes, we're trying to identify the people.
Yeah.
And it goes,
How
They need
many,
to just
how-
know what's going
Yeah.
on. They have no idea, like, what's happening.
it goes back
Something like a
to
case where,
the VPC, where it's what they are specifically looking for is if there are people present, their state, so whether they're incapacitated or not, then mapping of the actual environment, the cave or
Right.
building,
internal obstacles.
and then internal obstacles in that list of priority.
So I think I would expect to start seeing a little bit of evolution of your problem statement. Have you refined and evolved that since your initial problem statement as you've gone through your customer interviews?
They legitimately want that problem.
Yeah.
They're very cut and dry on that is what they're looking for.
It's always been to map out give a layout of what the area such as looks like. They want to know the interior layout.
At the least, and then people next, and IEDs.
So we're kind of putting it by priority of what we're trying to achieve.
Right.
Well, I would push back a little bit and say that your problem statement, yes, says they want to know something about the area, but there are a lot of problems that underlie that I don't think have been uncovered yet. Right? So what gets in the way of them doing that now? Is it just that they don't have this drone?
It's the connectivity. It's all,
That's the only problem they
But
have.
they're
So all
looking,
the solutions work, it's just the connectivity.
they're looking for something that's all kind of put into one package and that conquers the terrain. And one of the things is that the robots don't really conquer the terrain. That it's all put in one package and that it's light. So, which is
All
what
right, so more stuff is bubbling up here as I question you on that.
yeah, we would.
Yeah, right, so that's a very, right.
And you don't want the hardware to be left, like, if it gets into a place where there's, at the end of the cave, it doesn't want to be captured, so it could be repurposed again by whoever's there, right? Isn't that another problem?
Yeah, they don't want the enemy
It
to,
was wireless.
have it at all,
Losing
because that
connectivity.
could lead to.
Wait, so for example, like when we change it to say, kind of just elaborate on it, so like put, this is what we're trying to do, and then kind of put exactly what we're trying to pinpoint, like.
I think your focus is going to narrow, so your problem statement will become more refined. So yes, you are given a task, but as you uncover things, that's going to be more fleshed out and not so high level. You're going to get lower level. But we should probably move on.
Well, I would say your other components as well. So like the beneficiaries, they're not meant to be organizations. They're meant to be much more specific than that. So many elements of your mission model canvas could benefit from getting more specific. So rely on your text to help guide you with how specific each element should be. And we can help with that some today. That's part of what we're doing today. This is on. Good job, guys.